These tiny islands are the northern rim of what's known as the Coral Golden Triangle. "30,000 square kilometres one of the most biodiverse places on the planet. Underwater, corals look like a multicoloured rock garden of different plants. A miniature forest of brightly coloured trees. But in fact, corals are tiny animals called polyps. Their bony skeletons are on the outside of their bodies, and they link up with the skeletons of other polyps to create larger creatures, which then behave as if they were a single organism. They catch plankton to eat with the tentacles around their mouths. Corals grow very slowly. Even the fastest growing will only extend by around 15 centimetres a year. As a result, some coral reefs are extremely old. Experts have worked out that the oldest have taken around 50 million years to form. It's April in the South China Sea. The coral breeding season. When the full moon arrives, it's time for one of nature's most entrancing events. Coral polyps can't move to mate, so the entire colony releases eggs and sperm simultaneously. These float to the surface in a blizzard of colour. They cluster in swarms on the ocean surface. Now they must join together to create embryo coral larvae. In a miracle of nature, the polyp's sperm will only fertilise an egg from a different parent from their own. It's a race against time. Most of these tiny eggs and sperm can only survive for a matter of hours. If they haven't joined together in that time, they will die. But this colorization is deceptive. It's the result of an extraordinary relationship between coral and a single-celled plant called zooxanthellae. Zooxanthellae is an algae that lives inside the coral, and it's the algae that gives the corals their technicolor brilliance. Coral polyps only get a small proportion of their nutrition needs from plankton. The rest comes from their resident colony of Zooxanthellae that photosynthesize food out of sunlight the way plants do. And that's why corals generally live in shallow water. It's not such a nutritious habitat for them, but there's plenty of sunlight for their Zooxanthellae. Thanks to this special relationship between animal and plant, coral reefs flourish, and so they're able to play a vital role in our oceans. They only cover 1% of the seabed, yet coral reefs are home to a quarter of all marine creatures in the ocean. In fact, coral reefs are not only one of the oldest and most biologically diverse ecosystems on Earth. Home to creatures like this giant clam. It also depends, just like coral, on its resident colony of Zooxanthellae. They provide around 3/4 of its food, and their colour protects the clam from UV radiation. Darting around the reef is a red-toothed triggerfish. It's the star swimmer of all the fish on the reef. Its unusual fins help it execute tight turns and put on sharp bursts of speed. The coral provides shelter for its residents. Crevices and overhangs accommodate nurseries for shoals and young fish. And for a timid clownfish, coral is the perfect hiding place. The spectacular lionfish uses crevices for a different reason: to ambush its prey. The poisonous spikes on its back deter potential attackers. It's the overlord of this territory, with almost no natural enemies. Besides its regular inhabitants, the reef also plays hosts to guests from afar. This ray has come riding on ocean currents, but he won't stay here for long. Today, this beautiful and important habitat is under threat from many directions. This is the crown of thorns starfish. It's the coral's #1 predator. And recently, the number of crown of thorns outbreaks, where their numbers grow exponentially, has been increasing. Scientists aren't sure exactly why, but one reason is the disappearance of its main predator, the triton, the consequence of overfishing. Around the world, more than half our coral reefs are threatened. When corals are under stress from sea temperature rise, for example, they expel their zooxanthellae. As a result, they lose their colour. It's called coral bleaching.
Lycosis with hay.
And then, without the algae to help them create food and provide them with oxygen, they die. Now a team of young scientists from the Chinese Academy of Sciences is trying to find ways to restore the coral ecosystem in the South China Sea. In April, the sea here is usually calm, so that makes it the busiest time for the team. Zhang Yuyan and his colleagues need to complete their work here before the summer typhoon season arrives. Their plan is to collect damaged corals from the seabed and then relocate them to safer places where they can flourish. Zhang dives into the water to check whether the location they've identified from the surface is suitable. The water here is clear so the sun can penetrate, and the zooxanthellae will be able to do their work. It's also sheltered from damaging big waves. But there's a problem. The seabed here is sandy. There's nothing for the coral polyps to fasten onto. So Zhang's team have come up with a smart solution. Man-made underwater trees with branches and dangling twigs. They attach the coral at a relatively shallow depth. This way, the sunlight can penetrate and provide the fuel for the zooxanthellae to power the coral's growth. But attaching tree tails to the seabed is no easy task. They have to drive nails 40 centimeters long and 1.8 centimeters thick into the rock. It's skilled work and takes great strength. Normally a diver's tank of air lasts 90 minutes. It runs out after just 20 when you're doing work like this. Sometimes, if the rock is exceptionally hard, it can take the team an hour to fix a single nail. This forest of artificial trees is a temporary home, a nursery for the damaged corals to grow. In shallower waters, the team built racks for the corals. With the right water temperature and sufficient sunlight, even the smallest coral fragments can survive. These corals were transplanted last April. Already they're larger and beginning to look well established. When the corals in the team's nursery reach 10 centimetres, they will be relocated in places where the coral has died. This was once an expanse of colourful coral reefs, until the crown of thorns starfish arrived.